Hey guys, today we are going to talk about 16.1, which is repaying loans. So a loan is where you're going to borrow money, and when you borrow money, most of the time you have to pay interest. So we're going to talk about how to repay those. So this is going to be any form of repaying something that you borrow. Um, Credit is money that you borrow based on the expectation that you will repay the amount in the future, sometimes with added fees and or interest. Interest associated with credit refers to the charge for the privilege of borrowing money. In the space below lists some common reasons people may use credit. So when people use credit, they are borrowing the money because it might be a large sum of money. So that's most of the time when people are borrowing money. For example, buying a car, since that is a very large purchase, buying a house, or starting a business. These are some common times that you will borrow money. It's important to understand that when using credit, you may end up repaying more than you originally borrowed because of the interest. This happens most of the time, that you're going to end up paying more than what you borrowed. If you are borrowing money from a bank, that's usually when you're going to have that interest. If you were borrowing money from a family member, they might not charge you interest. It just depends. Below are some common forms of credit individuals may use. So credit cards, that is one type of form of credit. So a credit card is issued by a bank or business and typically has a credit limit, which sets a maximum amount cardholders can purchase on the card. A minimum payment is the smallest amount a consumer should pay each month in order to avoid late fees and maintain good credit. They always will give you that minimum payment. It's usually something pretty low, like $25. It just depends on your credit limit. It is always encouraged that you pay your entire credit card bill off and not just the minimum payment. But in a case that you weren't able to for that month, paying the minimum payment will make you avoid these late fees. Interest is charged on any monthly balances that aren't paid off. So you'll avoid late fees by paying that minimum payment, but then you'd be charged interest on top of what you didn't pay. Another form of credit is a personal loan. It allows a borrower to make larger purchases and usually has a fixed term or length of time that the borrower will have to pay or will have to repay the loan. So buying a house or a car would be examples of that. The third type of credit is an easy access loan. These are typically very short term and high interest loans. They are generally the quickest way to access funds when necessary. All right. Now it says use each of the problems below to calculate repayment of the total cost of paying back a loan. So like we said up above, when you borrow money, one of these three ways, most of the time, you're going to have to pay interest on top of what you borrowed. So you're going to end up paying more than what you asked for. So in this example, Peter takes out a $26,000 loan in order to buy a new car. He qualifies for a 4.11% interest rate, and his loan is a 5-year term with monthly payments of $480. So knowing that this is how much he borrowed, this is the interest that's being charged, and this is how long that he's going to take to pay it off, each payment that he pays for each month of those 5 years is going to be $480. So how many months will Peter be making payments for his car? Well, 5 years would be 60 months. Use the term and Peter's monthly payment to find the total cost of repayment. So like I said, each of those 60 months, he is going to pay $480 because that's what it says. And that will come out to $28,800. Is the total repayment more or less than the original payment he borrowed? Well, he borrowed $26,000 and he's got to repay $28,800. So it is more. And why? Because he had to pay 4.11% interest. How is interest with credit different than interest with a savings account? So interest with credit is what we did right here. So when you have interest with credit, that means that you are going to pay the interest. So speaking of paying interest, I want to know how much interest did he have to pay if this is how much he repaid? Well, to figure that out, you're going to subtract how much he borrowed. He asked for $26,000, but he had to repay $28,800. So that means that he paid $2,800 in interest. All right. And then with a savings account, you will earn the interest. So it's very important to understand the difference of paying interest and earning interest. This is great. This means that you are basically earning free money. Paying interest means that you're paying money and you didn't get anything for it. This $2,800 that he paid, he didn't get anything for that. That is just interest that he paid to whoever he borrowed the money from. Okay, on the next page. Jill paid for a $1,200 vacation using a credit card with 18% interest. In order to pay the card off in 12 months, Jill will need to make payments of $110.02 each month. Calculate the total cost of repayment as well as the amount of interest Jill will pay. So for 12 months, she's going to pay $110.02. So when I multiply those together, that's a little better. When I multiply those together, that will come out to $1,320.24. So even though her vacation only cost $1,200, she ended up paying $1,320.24 because of the interest. So how do I figure out how much interest she paid? I'm going to take the amount that she repaid and subtract the amount that she borrowed, and that comes out to $120.24. Brady has $20,000 in student loans with 3.3% interest that he plans to pay off in 5 years. He will need to make monthly payments of $362.05. Find the total cost of repayment as well as the amount of interest Brady will pay. So for every month in those 5 years, he's going to pay $362.05. So to get the total repayment, I'm going to take his monthly payment and multiply it by these 60 months that he will have to repay this. And when I multiply those together, we get $21,723. To figure out how much interest he had to pay, I'm going to subtract the amount that he borrowed from that amount of repayment. And the amount of interest he paid was $1,723. Okay, now it says use the problems below to observe how interest rates and loan length affect the cost of the credit. So we're first going to talk about how the interest rates affect the cost. So this interest rate was 3.3%. This one was 18%. We're going to see how those really affect the total repayment of a loan. Number 4, Donna is applying for a personal loan of $5,000 with a 5-year term to help furnish her new home. The table shows Donna's monthly payments based on the interest rate that she qualifies for. Complete the table to compare the total repayment and the interest paid for each rate. So here we have 3 different interest rates for the same loan. Okay, and the term is the same. So this amount is the same, the term is the same. What's different is this interest rate. So we're going to see how increasing it will affect the total repayment and how much interest. So if she only has 4% interest rate, her monthly payments will be $92.08. I'm going to multiply that times the 60 months, because that's how much she would pay every month for those 5 years. And when I do that, I get $5,524.80, which means that she paid $524.80 in interest, because I'm subtracting how much I borrowed from what I repaid. Number 2, now we have an 8% interest rate, so that's going to bump up my monthly payments to $101.38, and I'm going to multiply that by the 60 months, and we get $6,082.80, and then I'm going to subtract my loan amount from my repayment to get that I paid $1,082.80 in interest. Now I'm going to increase my interest rate to 12%, which is going to bump up my monthly payments to $111.22. I'm going to multiply that by the 60 months that I'm going to take to pay it off, and that gives me $6,673.20. When I subtract my loan amount from what I repaid, I will get that I paid $1,673.20 in interest. So now we need to talk about, how did the interest rate affect the cost of the credit? Well, as the interest rate increased, the monthly payments, the total repayment, and the interest also increased. And that will always be true. As the interest rate increases, everything else is also going to increase. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the different lengths of the loan on number 5. So if you look here, the loan is the same. It's $32,000. The interest rate is the same, but what's changing is how long I'm going to take to pay it off. So Joseph is taking out a $32,000 loan with 4.2% interest for a new SUV. The table shows his monthly car payments based on the term of the loan. Complete the table to compare the repayment and interest paid for each term. So here are our 3 different scenarios. For the first one, here's our loan amount, the interest rate, but he's only going to take 1 year to pay it off. So if he takes 1 year to pay it off, that means each month he's going to pay $2,728. So I'm going to multiply that by the 12 months in a year, and that will give me $32,736. And then I'm going to subtract that, my loan amount, from my repayment to get that I paid $736 in interest. Now we're going to increase our term length to 3 years, which would be 36 months. And that's going to lower my monthly payments to only $948, because now I'm spreading it out over 3 years instead of 1 year, so that monthly payment's going to go down. So that means that when I multiply those, I'm going to end up repaying $34,128 for that $32,000 loan. And then when I subtract that $32,000, that means I will end up paying $2,128 in interest. Now we're going to increase our term length to 5 years, which is 60 months. And that's going to, again, lower our monthly payments, because now we're spreading it out even more. But my total repayment now is going to be $35,520. And then when I subtract that loan amount of $32,000, that means that I paid $3,520 in interest. So now let's talk about these and see what happens. as the term length increased, so as this increased, the monthly payments decreased, and they decreased because then I'm spreading it out over more time. But the total repayment and interest paid increased. So obviously you want to pay the least amount of interest as possible, okay? Because that's money that you're paying that you didn't get anything for that. So ideally, you want a very low interest rate. And if you can afford higher monthly payments, then you want to pay it off as quickly as you can. That will make it to where you're going to pay the least amount of interest. If y'all have any questions, please make sure that you let us know. Have a good one.